Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we have a really fantastic topic to talk about, and we're going to talk about rolls. Now, rolls is what we use to get a lot of our favorite coin, whether it's through putting into a cash register, searching through, whatever you do. The container that the coins are used to kind of encase everything into 50 coins can give you a lot of clues as far as what coins you could find in a roll, whether it's old, new, brilliant uncirculated type rolls. I'm going to help you go through the various types of rolls that are most commonly seen, whether it's through the bank or a coin dealer, or just online. If you're shopping around eBay, someone's selling a whole bunch of rolls, you want to know what type of rolls they are. We're going to talk about it here today. So let's talk about rolls. Going through bank rolls from the bank, of course, is by far the least expensive way of getting into coin collecting. A lot of neat stuff comes out of rolls. I've personally found tons of stuff in rolls that I've turned around and flipped and made money off of, but that's a different subject altogether. But we're going to take a look at the various types of rolls, starting with this one right here. You guys have probably seen this. It's a generic 50-cent wrapper that we could go into a bank and ask for in bulk, as opposed to going to the store and buying the bags or the packs of wrappers. You could get these for free as long as you have a bank account wherever you bank with. And if you don't have a bank, then, well, rolls in general from the bank, you could generally walk into a bank even without an account and pick up some rolls. Now, there is a thing about getting too greedy, and some banks these days charge for rolls, so you want to be careful and mindful of that. This is one of the most common roll types as far as design. I don't know who makes these here, but I know I get these from Bank of America and Wells Fargo pretty regularly. But this is going to be your common type roll. Open it up, go through the coins. You're going to have a mixture of copper and zinc. Again, the copper is worth a little bit more as far as the intrinsic value goes. But, you would go through a box. A box has $25 worth of rolls, 50 rolls altogether. But you go through them, you pull out all the good stuff, and you go from there. Okay, so that's pretty much a foregone conclusion that it could be a mixed bag. These are typically called customer wrapped rolls, which means they're wrapped by the customer and then brought into the bank. Your next roll here, this is a Loomis roll, and it is machined wrapped. Right, Loomis is a armored car company, by the way, that provide most of the coin for the banks. Another one is the String and Sons rolls. They're another armored car company that also produces the rolls. They have their own wrapper. It would say String and Sons on the side. These right here, you could easily tell what you have. Now on this end, we have a fairly new penny or cent. We appeal to both crowds. You have a relatively new cent on the end. Now this time of year, at the beginning of the year, full rolls of solid BU coins are pretty plentiful. So actually the rolls of 2017s, for example, you'll see a full box of them, and they come out around the same time every year, and that's usually at the beginning of the year. They would be packed into these type of rolls that's furnished by the armored car companies. Believe it or not, full $25 boxes of the newest BU year rolls. Like if the 2017s are out now, you found a full box of them, you could actually flip them on like eBay and make almost 3 times the money. That's not including shipping and all that stuff. I've done it before in the past, and it's actually really good money to make. But there is a short window of about a month or two when these new ones come out and you have a full box. Once the allure of the new dated scents wears off, these aren't going to be worth as much. So something to keep in mind. And again, these are kind of a mixed bag. On this one, this has a copper end and a brand new BU zinc shield penny on the end. So that's another roll. So these other rolls, more than likely, you're not going to find at a bank. And if you do, I would certainly keep an eye out and I would ask for as much as you can. This one right here is an early, as you can see, it's even stamped May 31st, 1964. It has a bank that probably is no longer in service because a lot of the banks during the early 2000s have been purchased up by the big conglomerates like Bank of America, Chase, that sort of thing. So these older rolls from the older banks are definitely worth a look. The paper brand for the roll wrapper is Brandt, which it's not uncommon. They're actually pretty common to find, but finding them stamped from a specific bank, these are from Baltimore, Maryland, by the way, and they're dated 1964, can give you a clue as to what's inside. Now, this is a full BU roll of, let's see if I can pull this aside, 1964 Lincoln Cents. They're all Phillies. The date certainly helps in this case, and it makes you aware of what could be inside. So a full stamped, unopened roll such as this, a vintage roll that's over almost, 50 years old, or over 50 years old, is definitely one to find out and pick up, especially if they're at the bank. At the coin dealers, BU rolls are pretty plentiful, so if you ask for them, they'll give you a pretty good deal on it. So that's one other type of roll. Here's another one. This one I actually kept in this too. It's a Bank of America NT&SA wrapper. You know how old this wrapper is? Get a load of that. Telephone 31Y. Purchase order 91486. This is pretty old. And I even have it labeled because I've already opened it, and it's got Gem BU 59 to 64 Lincoln Cents, and then grade wise 65 to 67. So that's what I have in there. Again, machine wrapped, so the rolls would be crimped on the ends, more so like this. And that's that. So that's another roll to keep an eye out. I've actually found a few of these in bank boxes. Here's another BU roll, but this one's housed in a later model modern, what do they call these? Numis Products square tubes. So if I open it up, it should be all solid date. This one is 1960s in there. BU rolls are really fantastic to go through. Especially to find varieties and the super high grades. It's pretty much a given that they've never been gone through, especially the ones at the dealer. These were kind of frowned upon because they didn't like looking through all of these BU rolls, and boy were they plentiful. Today, however, a lot of those varieties are worth a ton of money. Here's a 1960D BU roll in a what do they call this? This is an H.E. Harris and Company. It's a modern coin preservation company that makes not only rolls, but they also make the albums as well. So that's another type of roll that you'll find out there, and that's typically sold online. Another roll right here, this one's a 73p. Someone had wedged a little piece of tissue paper on the inside so that way they're not all clanging around together. Usually with the older rolls, they'll be taped all along this edge here where the cap goes on, where it's screwed on. And you could always tell the old rolls is when they're taped and the tape is tannish brown, like they've been sitting out in the sun all day. But it's just a byproduct of sitting in storage, and then the adhesive from the tape drying out and drying out the paper as well on the tape. So those are huge prospects for finding something really nice. But 73 BU roll, the type of Let's see. Product research, which they don't make any coin preservation products anymore, but you can see it screws on and off like so. So these are some of the typical rolls. Now, whether you go through pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, or halves, okay, it's always good to know what type of rolls are out there. Keep in mind, they didn't make rolls all the way back into the 1800s. It was a relatively new technology that came onto the scene during the right around the 30s. So to I'll just switch, kind of topics here and talk about some of the roles that you don't want to touch. Any of the bank rolls you'll touch, you'll buy whatever, you go through them, you find some neat stuff. Some of the rolls that we see online, especially on eBay, because there is a ton of listings on there for various rolls, you want to try and stay away from the rolls that promise big hits in them. So say for example they sell a roll much like this, okay, and then they'll have the end of it, and they'll have typically a key date, like they'll say a 1931 S Lincoln Cent on one end, and then a 1909 VDB on the other end. They're trying to get that hook out there to let you know that the whole roll is loaded, and they're going to try and sell for a lot of money. There's even people that have gone through greater lengths as to put a silver dime on the end, thinking that it'll be mixed with some really nice wheat cents and silver dimes. I mean, come on now. They don't, silver dimes do not just accidentally fall into these things. It just doesn't happen. Though even the machines from way back in the 40s and 50s, yeah, they work perfectly to where they're not going to do that. So those rolls have definitely been seeded. One other roll that I would stay completely away from are the full rolls containing like Morgan dollars. The Morgan dollars would show maybe an N with a CC, Carson City mint mark on it, and it would just be too perfect. And yeah, I mean, like I said, they did not make rolls during the 1800s. So how can we have a BU roll with nothing but CC coins in there? It just doesn't happen that way. So and those things sell for a ton of money. Full rolls have sold in excess of $10,000, and there's a sucker born every minute. What's that good old saying? Soon a fool and his money are parted. But anyways, this is a not so quick overview of bank rolls, what it's all about, what to look out for. Again, happy hunting. If you have any questions, you found a coin that you think is interesting, you could try contacting me on YouTube just by putting a comment in. I've been pretty good here in the last day or two responding to that. Or you could hop on one of the many message boards that's available online, like Coin Talk, Coin Community, PCGS, Collectors Universe are fantastic resources for getting more information from the pros. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more. You guys have a good one.